ready? Not yet.
Get ready.
All right, I guess we're getting this started now. So let me welcome Julian Council here from 102.5 The Game.
Woo! All right, how's everybody doing? Are we gonna get this going? Let's get it going, man. CK from Terminus Legion, one of the supporters groups out in Atlanta United, gonna join me. All right, come on up. Get your applause. Round of applause, folks. Round of applause. Round of applause. Craig from the Resurgence is also here. And Kurt from Footie Mob. Close out our round table. So I'm gonna sit down over here. You know what? Yeah, let's move my coat over here. It's the wrong coat, wrong color, as we're here in Nashville. So
we don't sit.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna sit. You're gonna sit. I need you guys
sit down.
You guys are gonna have to pass on that mic. So enjoy that tonight while I, commandeer this mic and enjoy that. So, welcome to the Assembly's night before party here at Tailgate Brewery. Thanks to Tailgate Brewery for having us here. I know American Outlaws come here all the time. Definitely one of the places that has made soccer in Nashville a welcome place for all. So I'm happy for all you guys from Atlanta who made the treacherous drive up. I know it took you probably 4 hours to get out of your own city, then 4 more hours to get here. So welcome and enjoy Nashville tonight. Go down to Broadway, catch that Broadway flu, wake up tomorrow, and do it all over again as we're going to kick your ass.
And
sorry, I'm not supposed to say that.
and when you go to a hot chicken place, you want to get the highest one up there too.
Hattie B's is good. Hattie B's is good.
Princess.
If you want to wait an hour and a half to get the best hot chicken in Nashville, you'll go to Princess. So, how are we going to start this off? Let's start this off with, first, I want to talk to these guys from Atlanta. And Kurt, I'll start with you. And the whole Footie Mob thing you guys got going on there. So, from my understanding is, I grew up an Atlanta Braves fan. I'm from the South, from Charlotte. Go Panthers, by the way. I've always been told that Atlanta was just the worst sports town ever. That soccer wouldn't work in Atlanta. And what do? I turn on the TV and I see more people at Bobby Dodd Stadium than that go to Georgia Tech games. They told me soccer wasn't going to work, but you guys kind of killed it the first year. So please tell the haters why the hell it worked.
I mean, it's not kind of hard to outdraw Georgia Tech at their stadium. That's true.
Even the Georgia game, there wasn't that many people.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of people in Atlanta who are watching soccer at home. So everybody went, oh, it's a bad sports town. No one's going to watch soccer. But you know what? Everybody's watching NBC at home. Everyone's watching BN Sports at home. Now we have a place to all go together. And you look at Brewhouse, you look at Midway, you look at all these bars, and you see 100 people there. There's thousands who are just at home with their kids, with their wives, turning it on in the morning, watching it, and now we all have a place to go together. And that's what no one could predict. No one could see it. I grew up in Atlanta, and I would have never known that. But you know what? I was one of those people that was sitting at home on some Saturday mornings, turning on NBC and just going, all right, I'll watch whatever game's on.
Now one of the things where everybody. You still know the foundation's always there.
Yeah, I mean, the foundation is everywhere. I mean, it's a global sport. Everyone watches. They wouldn't be here if it wasn't. So it's just a matter of giving those people an outlet to do what it is they do.
CK, so before Atlanta United popped up, where were you watching matches at?
Okay, so I actually didn't grow up here in Atlanta, but I was moving all around. I was a military brat, so I was watching everywhere. I was born in San Francisco, moved over to Germany. I think that's probably where it took hold. So
I could imagine that working there.
That probably worked. I mean, I think that they had a few balls sitting around in the game. It was a military base, and we still here to play. So I came back to the States, and I think I carried that with me. Played in some leagues actually in Oklahoma, and then came back here to Georgia when my dad retired. So came back here and started playing in the leagues here, and some of the stuff is being discussed now. Pay for play, but went to select. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, guys. You guys are killing it back there.
So I grew up here. I have the worst supporters group ever.
That's Terminus Legion, by the way.
So they voted for me, by the way. Tells you the quality of candidates we have. So I actually grew up playing mostly here all the way through high school, back and traveling to Atlanta actually for the majority of my matches. So I actually grew up when the soccer started to take off, I think, in Georgia, in my opinion, through the 90s. And when it started to actually get really competitive. And so I would come up here on the weekends and play because I lived down in Columbus, Georgia, playing for the only select team that we had. So the majority of my time was actually spent in Atlanta. I spent the majority of my middle school and high school years playing here. Joined the Navy, and then I moved around playing again. So it was kind of actually good for me because I was always around an international fan base, and that always brought me to the game. And that's how I found the game. It was actually not even here in the States, to be honest. It was just through other people outside of the States.
And that's kind of just how things can grow, where I feel like a lot of us, like Kurt was talking about, we wake up early in the mornings to support another club out overseas. And I'm a Liverpool supporter, so I wake up and here we go, you never walk alone. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hey. No one cares. So it's one of those things where I remember I played when I was like 5'6", stopped playing. There was other sports out there, like you know how it is in America. But then I'm watching the 06 World Cup, falling in love with Steven Gerrard, and then I'm watching Peter Crouch, falling in love with Jermaine Pennant, and seeing that Liverpool squad. So it's one of those things where, like, you moved around. But some of us, like we sat here in America and we watched overseas and kind of got the influence that way. Craig, so where did the love for you in soccer begin, and kind of leading up to where you are now with your sports group down there in Atlanta?
Yeah, so for me, born and raised in Atlanta, so it's youth soccer was huge. It's the one thing that kind of like was started. You like the kids? Jesus. So basically, like we all played indoor. I mean, you lived in Gwinnett County. You went to Lilburn Soccer Academy. You played indoor. You kept playing, going like that. We got the luxury in the '90s of the '94, and then also the women started getting good.
Yeah,
became really popular. And then also on top of that, it was like I said, like I met a guy that was a huge Liverpool fan. Got me to start watching EPL about 8-9 years ago. Sadly, like Atlanta, they haven't won shit since I started watching them, so that was pretty awesome. But that just got me into it. You started getting that rhythm of waking every morning and saying, let's go watch the game, let's get it all into it. And then Atlanta was perfect because, like, you guys know how it is in Nashville, same ways in Atlanta. You're required to have a sport in college football. Yeah. So every single person here, you say, hey, do you like college football? It's a wide variety of whatever, but they all got somebody. Yeah, like the West Virginia guy that can't read. And so the same deal, but Atlanta was perfect because it was, but who's your MLS team? What the hell is that? Oh, it's the soccer league. I don't know, Seattle's got Xbox on their shirt. That's pretty cool. But we all found something that was all ours together. So the people that could like a Tennessee Titans, Pittsburgh Steelers, or Falcons, Dogs, War Eagle, Alabama, whatever it is, all can support one team.
Yeah.
As you can tell by the irate crowd, everyone has their own opinion about every other sport. But MLS, it was centered. That's why it really worked out well for us.
Well, anybody who's a South Carolina fan obviously has mental problems. No, get out. South Carolina really has been relevant? Never. You have 0 SEC titles. Cool. George Rogers won the Heisman Trophy. You went to 1 Final Four. Congratulations. Oh, baseball. Because we care about baseball. Back to soccer, though. Back to soccer is what we're here for at the... We should have done this earlier. We should have. We got the rowdy crowd. You guys have been here drinking all day.
Since what? 1 o'clock today.
I was asleep at 4 o'clock in a mid-afternoon nap, resting up for this. Okay. That's... Well, you know what? You guys got a head start. So let's kind of talk about how the movement started, because we're here in Nashville, and it was as grassroots as grassroots can be. I understand, like out in Atlanta, Arthur Blank, owner of the Falcons, as all of you guys know out there. Yeah, I'd rather go to Lowe's than Home Depot anyway. But there you go. But obviously Arthur Blank, he got the bid in 2014. And the idea to put the soccer club inside of the football stadium for a lot of people would seem not like the idea you want to do, but when you're getting 70,000 people, it seems to work out pretty well. Hey, Kurt?
So my day job is I'm a fire marshal, and I had the blueprints for the stadium well before anybody else saw them, and I was like, that's a soccer layout. It's finally showing up here. Oh my God, it's finally going to be here. So you see it and you think, all right, well, Mike saw the lower bowl. Everyone saw MLS 1.0 where it was half-empty football stadiums.
New England Revolution playing in Gillette, no one's there.
Exactly.
DC United playing at RFK, complete dump.
Kansas City at Arrowhead, and there's nobody there. So you sit there going, this might not be the best idea. And then the reality of it hits, and you're like, oh damn, it worked. Not only did it work, it exceeded everyone's expectations. So it's really fun in a way to be a part of something, especially in Atlanta where we get the worst sports rap, to have 70,000 people twice. And now it's going to be 4 times this year. They're opening up to full capacity. And you know what? Atlanta United fans show up. No one's sitting down. Everyone's cheering the entire time. And that's something you don't see at any other game. And it's fun. And people who come for the first time, we've given tickets away to people, and they go, where do I get a season ticket now? I need one. I can't miss the next game. So it's always a great thing that people can come to that building and then leave wanting more. And, you know, to have a small part in that, it's huge. But without Arthur Blank's money, without his vision, without the people he brought in, it's nowhere. We could be, you know, Chivas where, you know, it's great for a little bit, then it disappears. But this is something that has staying power.
Yeah, Craig?
I definitely agree with you on that. But the one thing about it, though, is that for a lot of people that have been following soccer in Atlanta, when we've put 70,000 people on Mercedes-Benz, that wasn't surprising because when Mexico would come play, Costa Rica, Honduras, the American Outlaws are here, you would have the Georgia Dome filled out. So you could tell that there was a desire for soccer on the national level in the city of Atlanta consistently. I mean, USA wasn't even playing, and they would sell out that dome for 3 games of CONCACAF on a weekend.
Yeah.
So when that started happening, that's what really Arthur Blank used that as the hey, look what we can do with this. What if we can get everyone else into it? So I think that was the biggest thing for us, was kind of seeing the diversity of our city, the international flavor that we have, following soccer already, and then getting everyone else who already lived in the city to kind of follow along with.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool thing you talk about the diversity of your city, because same thing kind of Nashville. Atlanta has become a very transient city where probably 1 million people in Atlanta are actually from Atlanta, the Georgia area. Then you got the other 3-4 million who aren't. And it's one of those things where everyone can come together and support that one team. And I think that's a cool thing, especially to have an owner like Arthur Blank, where we sit around here nowadays, especially looking at the NFL. You got owners wanting built new stadiums all the time they don't want to pay for. He pays for it himself. You have owners who want to move to different cities and play in a soccer stadium like the Spanos family in San Diego. But you have a guy in Arthur Blank who is sitting there who loves the city of Atlanta and wants to bring something to Atlanta that's going to help bring them even closer together.
And that's one of the great things that I've noticed about our owner is he wanted to make it as soccer specific as possible. And that came all the way down to the stadium, all of the little things, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but so just everything from the team entering out of the center of the field, opening up the field to larger widths according to FIFA requirements, getting rid of those lines, Robert Kraft, just so we can actually have a real soccer field. And, you know, we get a lot of rap for the dome and the plastic field, but they don't understand that the front office has actually listened to the majority of the concerns that the fan base has had. They've done a fantastic job of actually listening and then reacting to that. And then on top of that, they go and build a world-class training facility, which most of us will get to go visit next week, and most of us have already been to actually, that a professional team would love to play on. Not just a training facility, they would love to play on. And he went about it the right way. He said, if you put the money into the product will pay you back. Not just, is this a side item for me? And so he's really gone at it the right way, I think.
And $5 beers definitely helps.
That will help.
Are they $5 here too? I don't really know. I never look at my check. I never look at my check. So I haven't got my tax at 3 o'clock. So Jason, like, we met about a year ago, back in May, and it's crazy, especially for national people here, that we've had a grassroots movement where back in May, I'm meeting Korczewski, the CEO of Nashville SC, doing a radio show with him and Gary Smith and a bunch of people there, the PDL team, to fast forward to December. We're sitting there over at the Country Music Hall of Fame, and like Don Garber's here saying you're getting an MLS team. Don Garber sucks. He does. He does. He does. You can always tell.
I tell you,
you can always tell those commissioners. But I want you to kind of just, from being being a part of a sports group down here in Nashville, the Assembly, I kind of want you to go into detail and just kind of how you played a role and how a lot of people here who are Nashville SC supporters played a role in getting a club here through the Gold Cup this past summer, and Tottenham and Man City being here, and just all the events that happened.
Yeah, I mean, like last summer we were just there. There's maybe like 1,000 people that came out to those games, and now we're going to be at the highest level in North American soccer.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
At the PDL games. Yeah.
Right. Like, right. So yeah, it's definitely been grassroots trying to grow the game here. Like I think it all kind of started with the old Nashville Football Club back in the day, and then trying to get people to come out to Premier League games in the morning, because we got several bars that open up for those games. Yeah. Go to Fleet Street at 6:30 tomorrow if you can.
Don't. That's the wrong bar.
Yeah, that's Printer's Alley.
Gutter bar. That's not where the Liverpool folks are at. Not where you want to be.
No.
But either way, it's just amazing thinking like we're sitting here today where in less than a year there's a USL team, and we already knew there was going to be a USL team. Right. But the fact that they're going to have their first ever professional match against Atlanta United, who had 70,000 people at Mercedes-Benz Stadium last year, that went to the playoffs. Heartbreaker, I know, but still, in your inaugural season, to go that far and to have the kind of fan support, and now Nashville growing up grassroots movement, and then just soccer in the South overall, getting to the point where we're at. I kind of want to move in that conversation of, how much further can we go in the South with building soccer? Because obviously we all know, the football we care about is the one that's played on Saturdays, and then, depending where you're from, Atlanta, you care about the Sunday football too a little bit. New Orleans, they care about the Sunday football, and in Charlotte, we care about the Sunday football. But really, it's been about Saturdays, but now we're getting soccer, and Atlanta has it, Nashville has it, and we'll see who else is going to have it. I think it's kind of a cool thing that we got going on here.
Yeah, I think one real game changer for the sport in the region, I think, is going to be USL D3, because now you're going to have these medium markets. Medium-sized markets that's going to have a chance to have a pro soccer team, like Huntsville or Knoxville or wherever. So that's really a game changer, and I think we have an opportunity to look at talent down there and hopefully bring them to MLS by the time we reach that level.
Kurt, where do you see soccer continue to grow here in the South?
I mean, I think you're right. I think it's going to be those medium to small size southern markets that have tons of space. They need something civically to kind of rally around. I mean, your local high school is great, but there's always two local high schools. Unified soccer team is that thing that can bring an entire town together. We've got Tormenta down in Statesboro, which is an hour from Savannah. They can pull from a large city to get people there. They're in a college town. They're going to have people everywhere. Greenville, same thing. You've got Low Country SC. You've got Charleston Battery. So having these smaller feeder teams that are getting people in the region used to the sport, learning the rules and how it works is huge, because guess what? Then they can come to an Atlanta or a Nashville and they'll understand what's going on. It decreases that learning curve for them, so they're ready for what they're about to see. And it makes it normal. The biggest problem in the South is the idea that, that's a European sport. It's played by people that dive and are soft. But no, they haven't watched the game. Once you see it in person, you see somebody end up laid out on the pitch. That's a game changer. Like, okay, this gets serious. And I think that's what the sports needs. It needs that ground level entry point thing for people who may not be familiar with it and aren't open to it, to see it and get familiar and go, okay, I understand exactly what's going on now. And the players are in the community, and it's somebody they're going to see on a daily basis. It's harder to hate what's close to you. It's harder to dismiss what's in your own backyard. So it brings everyone closer together. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for growth in the South is having those Greenville, the Tormented, the Birmingham, the new Birmingham team that's coming up, and having all of them there ready to go and in their communities. It's not a far off thing.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing. Yeah, Craig, go ahead.
The only thing is I want to make sure that the crowd stays interactive in this because I know you guys are all getting really drunk. So we're talking about how do we grow sports, soccer in the South. We're all okay with that as long as it's not in Florida, right? Because we all, Florida's not the South, so Orlando is not really a team. So secondly, we're really excited to have Nashville because you guys will be the second best Southern team now because we don't talk about that shitty purple team in the South. So fair enough. So we're excited to have you guys. But exactly. But I think that's the biggest thing too. Is just like it's like if you said 5 years ago they're going to start a team in Nashville, people are like, all right, we don't really know much about that. Like, is that going to work? But like, I hope that Atlanta could be a blueprint for everyone to go. If we could do 2 to the 3 things they did, hell, we can get this thing started. And the same thing goes for Charlotte and other cities in the South.
Hey,
that's a big man coming after you. Get your bar tap. But yeah, but when we can set a stage to say this works, and then you can start copying that same blueprint across the board, that's what really matters. I mean, just make it work.
Yeah, and I like, too, that Nashville going to be MLS. And even if they would have just been USL for a couple years before getting kind of the MLS bid, you have one of the largest cities in the South that's going to have soccer. And I think it's important where, they meant someone says F Charlotte. I get it because, Charlotte's one of those things where they put in a bid process, but it's the guys from NASCAR who were just really trying, I don't even know what they're trying to do. Like, they weren't trying to work in the city, they weren't trying to work with the community, they were just trying to get a team. I think it's important for this sport to continue to grow where I love how Birmingham, which is a city that has definitely reinvented itself over the last 5 years, is going to get a team. And we know how our region is. That's definitely one of the things that will absolutely bring people together in Alabama and across the region, where we have it going in Louisville. They're going to build their own soccer-specific stadium. You talk about Atlanta here in Nashville. If we can get all the larger cities in the South to buy in, I think that's going to go a long way towards soccer continuing to grow in our region.
And I think that's right. I'm going to piggyback a little off of Curtis and say that's what it is. It's got to get some of the mid-markets, and it has to be about location. And this is talked about a lot because there are a lot of stadiums that Chicago, right? So some of these stadiums where the stadiums are actually positioned outside of the market, and so when those stadiums are positioned outside of downtown, and that's mentioned a lot, it doesn't work. And so sometimes there's not a lot of space. Look at, I don't know, NYCFC.
Turn it up a little.
The same thing. It's like they would love to have a great middle of the city stadium, but where? Where do they put that? And so, exactly. So when you look at a Birmingham, though, somebody that can actually take something and put a stadium right in the middle of downtown, that's where I think the market grows. That's where soccer grows in the South. You have to be able to put it in a place where people can go downtown and the party continues after the game. Before and after the game. And I think that's exactly what you have to do, and that is why I think Mercedes-Benz work. It is there. It is in the middle of town, and so even though it is a dual sports stadium, and I understand MLS wants those soccer-specific stadiums, but it weren't there for that reason because of a stadium that was already positioned in the right place.
And you were already used to going there back when the
correct. It's the oldest rule of real estate. Right. Yeah. The baseball fields went up north, so
yeah, that's
but it's like
shady deal.
It's the oldest rule of real estate, right? It's location.
Yeah,
it's the oldest rule of real estate.
Absolutely. And then here in Nashville, for USL this season, you're going to be playing right outside of downtown in Germantown over the baseball stadium, and then maybe 3-5 minutes outside of downtown once they build it over at the fairgrounds, which obviously location is a huge key. Yeah, you talk about NFC and NYFC. Yankee Stadium's cool, but that's baseball stadium. People think Yankees. And Red Bulls are out in Harrison, New York, or New Jersey, or wherever the hell that is. Not a place.
It's just across the river.
Across the river?
Just a little bit.
I don't know. Either way, New York sports teams don't actually play in New York unless you're the Knicks.
And the Mets. Let's go Mets.
Or Buffalo. And I guess and another thing, and I'm wondering too, as far as like youth development is a big thing about kind of getting kids in the region to care about soccer. What kind of role do you think of the Southeastern Conference, the SEC? The SEC had men's soccer. you think that soccer would be bigger now than it already is? Yeah, Kurt, you take this. This is a tough question. All they're going to you.
So if the SEC bought in as a conference, it'd absolutely be huger. The problem is that football is the thing that takes up the vacuum. It absolutely envelops everything outside of Kentucky where it's basketball in North Carolina. If you got, Mark Richt in Miami or Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, who embraced soccer as another thing there, that would be the biggest thing for the SEC country that we live in to buy in, because that'd be, oh, I trust him, he wins championships, or he gets us to championships, and he says this is okay. I'm in. I mean, you kind of need that cosign from people every once in a while.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, too, sorry to cut you off, but where Florida State, ACC, they always have a perennial top 10 soccer program men's-wise. Clemson, same way. North Carolina, not a football school, but still, North Carolina always has a great program. South Carolina has a program, and they're pretty good too, and they're independent outside the SEC. I feel like if Alabama, if Tennessee, if Georgia, Kentucky, if they had a soccer program, then you would think that a lot of guys would grow up in the area, because they're already playing out there in Atlanta, they're already playing in North Carolina, they're already playing in South Carolina, and it would be bigger than it already is right now, where you wouldn't even have to convince kids and people, even like millennials our age, to care about the sport,
Well, at some point, pride is going to kick in. I mean, we just had National Signing Day, and if you looked at Twitter, you saw all the soccer players from all these southern high schools signing with UCLA, USC, places outside the South. At some point, state pride has to kick in and go, why are these kids leaving the state? We want them here. We want them donating their money back to our colleges. And I think you're going to see the tail drag the dog a little bit. I think you're going to see Atlanta United's academy. I think you're going to see if Nashville starts an academy. You're going to see them go, wait a minute, we can keep these kids in state. Wait a minute, look at the crowds they're getting. We can have that here. Okay, and then they'll follow the 800-pound gorilla in the room of MLS and Arthur Blank and the Ingrams and go, we want to keep these kids around. We want them in our backyard. And we want that to stay here.
And I'll say that's probably one of the best things that I've seen about Atlanta United, just watching and seeing how the front office has managed things, and they're very proud of that. I know Darren Eales talks about it all the time, is that their academy was up and running far before the MLS team ever hit the field. Soccer has to start when you're 4, 5 years old. It doesn't start when you're 14. It's too late. So it has to actually start as a culture. It starts at the beginning. And so there's some organizations that are really good that are starting that in the city and actually bringing soccer into the urban markets. And so that's some of the stuff that we support, and a lot of us support as supporters groups. And that's where the game has to begin. It has to start in the youth. It has to start. I have to go out there and see a basketball in the street and choose a soccer ball instead.
And accessibility is important too.
And that's why they have to put the fields out there. That's why the fields have to be inside the city. And a lot of American markets were not built that way to begin with, right? So you walk outside a lot of urban markets, there's a basketball court everywhere. Where's the soccer field? Right. You walk around a Brazilian slum, and that's exactly what you would see. Soccer fields everywhere. Even if it was dirt, 2 trees, and a ball.
Just a ball.
It's just a ball. They may not even have 2 trees. They probably don't. Probably got 2 trash cans. But you know what? It didn't even matter. It didn't matter that there was a goal. It just mattered that we had a ball. That's how it starts. It has to start as a child. At 14, 15, 16, it's too late. We've lost you already to some other sport or something else. So, and I think that's what the academy programs are starting to bring back. And I hope they take that blueprint from Atlanta and do that. I hope Nashville says, okay, we need an academy. We need kids when they're 15, 16, so they can get the next Andrew Carlton. We can find a kid that's 17 or 18 years old and actually stick them on a professional field.
Yeah, and then Nashville SC is already, and I'll let you go after this, Craig, they've already teamed up with the Tennessee State Soccer Association. They're already doing youth academy camps out there. They continue to not just be, because I've talked to them and what they've said, they want to be more than just Nashville's team. They want to be Tennessee's team, particularly once they go to MLS. Because Chattanooga, they have their NPSL team out there. Memphis is getting a USL team. We're all in it together. So they're hell-bent on just making sure that every kid who wants to play soccer can play soccer and they can be accessible to all socioeconomic groups. So I think it's super important, particularly in our region where we still have those kind of issues. correct?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like, a lot of people want to talk about how can we get college soccer more important than South and all that. That's great. I mean, like, college soccer, as a UGA fan, like, you see, like, no one there for anything for that. So the biggest thing I agree with CK on is developing the kids. One organization that, if you asked any different supporters group out here, what's their view on Atlanta United, what's most important, what's the best part about being a fan, we all have different ideas, different concepts. But one organization in Atlanta that we all support is called Soccer in the Streets. And they have done, and they've done a great job of finding places within the city that you would not think to see a soccer field. And there's a pitch literally at one of our MARTA stations. So one of our public transportation, when you get off the MARTA station, there's literally a grass area with chains that's set up to play soccer, and they have leagues there. So we all actually play in a tournament together to raise money for that, and that's what it is. You know, you have so many kids that want to play soccer in Atlanta. Georgia Tech, Georgia State, they'll figure it out. But there has to be the demand for it, and we have to make it where soccer ball is the first ball you pick up when you're a kid. So I think that's the best thing for us, and I challenge Nashville to find that. Find an organization that says creating an urban environment where kids can learn soccer and find love in the sport that we all support. That's what they need to go do. So, and that's something that, like, it doesn't matter if you're Footie Mob, TL, Faction, Resurgence. We all know that this one organization for us is the most important thing to grow in soccer in the state of Atlanta. So.
Yeah, this thing, and Justin Davis, who plays for Nashville SC, was here tonight earlier, and he was talking to one of your guys from the Assembly, and who was from Pittsburgh, and talked about how the Riverhounds USL team up there, how basically their entire select team was just kids from the suburbs. And just kids who were from privileged backgrounds, where it's like, we need to get away from that. We need to find a way for it to be accessible. But kind of, you're from here, Jason, so you're thinking about, how do you think here in Nashville we can do that and kind of reach out to a lot of the youth in the area, particularly when we talk about the east side where, you know, gentrification, a lot of things is going on, where we can continue to make it accessible. Because I love what the Predators do. They've done a great thing with getting the community involved. But let's be honest, for as great as Preds are, every time an ice rink is being opened up, it's being opened up in Bellevue, it's being opened up in Franklin. They're not being accessible to the lower socioeconomic groups and getting more people to play. Because our biggest star is PK Subban, who's from Canada, where hockey's the biggest thing, but he looks like me and Kurt. And you don't see a lot of us playing hockey. It's the thing where diversity of the city, where you guys talk about bringing Atlanta together, like, how can we continue to bring all groups together and make things accessible?
Yeah, I think it's a total team effort. I mean, it starts with the club, the supporters groups, the cities, the state association, other nonprofit groups. We all need to sit down and talk about how are we going to do, what are we going to do to sort of make this more accessible? Like, you know, not only on the east side, but also like down Nolensville Road, because that's our large immigrant community. Those are the kids that are coming from families where soccer is their #1 sport. So that's definitely, you know, some kids we need to tap into, and hopefully, you know, they could be a star for Nashville SC one day. That's what I would really love to see is, you know, not a team of guys from all over the world or all over the country, but guys, you know, that grew up in this area. And, you know, it's not just the city, too. Like, I grew up in a very rural area, so, like, if you wanted to play good quality soccer, you would have to travel about an hour away just to practice, and then you're traveling even further, you know, going to Memphis or wherever to play in tournaments. So it's very hard, it's very expensive. So, I mean, with the U.S. president election coming up, I mean, whoever takes that job, they're going to have to, like, set out some sort of plan to, you know, sort of fix it all together around the country, I think.
Yeah, and it just never made sense to me with youth sports, period, where, and I'll let you go, CK, next, where you have to spend an obscene amount, because I play AAU basketball, and you have to spend an obscene amount of money throughout the spring and summer just to compete at the highest level, put yourself in front of, you know, college scouts and whatnot. But even that, like, because not everyone's going to play MLS, not everyone's going to play USL, but having people fall in love with the sport and playing that throughout high school, then growing up and going to college and having a family and being like, hey, you're not playing basketball, you're not playing football, you're not playing baseball, you're going to play soccer. That is the kind of thing that you want will help grow this more continuously. So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And that's one of those things, like, so I'll get a little personal, and that's So I never understood exactly what my parents went through to actually allow me to play the game because of exactly what you're talking about, this pay-for-play system. And so my mom would actually go and wait tables at night after her regular job. All that money went just so I could play on a travel soccer team, right? So that I could go and play select soccer to come to Atlanta and play because I didn't live there. So I was living 120 miles away. I had to go to Atlanta, I had to go to Savannah, I had to go to Macon, Birmingham, Orlando for a Disney tournament, whatever, right? Just so I could play the game.
Orlando sucks!
That's possibly true.
But fuck you, Orlando! Oh, fuck you, Orlando! Oh, fuck you, Orlando! Oh, fuck you, Orlando!
We mostly ignored those guys.
Like Nashville.
Yeah. So
For now.
that was my personal story of really understanding the pay-for-play system, but I didn't realize that until I was older, right? So I came to the game I came to the understanding of the overall picture a little later after watching a lot of commentary and understanding what my parents went through, and didn't know that until I sat down with my mom and actually had a heart-to-heart and figured out what it cost for me to play. You know, the thousands of dollars she paid for me to travel and go to tournaments, Labor Day tournaments, Christmas Day tournaments, like just the nonsense, honestly, to actually play the game and pick up a ball and walk out there. I was just showing up and thinking my mom was giving me a hard time for forgetting my shin guards, not understanding that she had spent $1,000 for me to go play on a weekend.
Which is insane. You think about soccer basically being the cheapest sport, where you
Right.
need, you just need a ball.
Everywhere
Everywhere made it so difficult.
And that's what I meant. Everywhere else in the world, soccer is 2 trash cans and a ball. In America, that is not the game. And so that's what I mean by it has to start at the youth, but you have to make it accessible. And it's not. And so not everybody had those opportunities. I am thankful for having them. But to bring that to the broader audience, we have to fix that. Now, those elections are coming tomorrow, correct? So I don't know the right answer, and I'm not the smartest person to figure. Hope Solo. Resurgence said that.
I mean, are you serious though? I mean, I don't know.
To be honest with you, like everyone else in the entire like presidential election for the U.S. has been like, oh, well, we can do this. Hope Solo's like, this is stupid. We should stop doing that. And you know, she's gonna punch somebody in the face and get it done, and that's what I support her, right? Plus, she's actually won stuff, so I'm gonna do whatever she says. That's the biggest thing for me.
I don't want to get stabbed.
Just any kind of change is what we need. And let's get into that. The travesty that come June, the United States of America is not playing in the World Cup. What the fuck? Who are we going for?
So, like, this kind of ties in with your last question. I went to Westlake, same high school as Cam Newton and his brother. My next door neighbor was in the Olympic diving community. And it was the fact that these people are there and American soccer isn't finding them. More importantly, it doesn't care to find them. So you know what? I have cable. I have the internet. I can find another team to watch. I'm like, all right, France looks good. Oh, wait, those Nigerian kids look hot. I'm going to buy that. I'm now Team Nigeria, based purely off of that. And companies have figured out that they can give us a lukewarm kit, a lukewarm team, and that we'll be there. And I think after tomorrow's election, unless it goes a certain way, they're going to find out where did our ratings go? Why is no one watching our team anymore? What do we do wrong? It's like you elected the wrong person who doesn't actually care about the game. They care about, is Fox going to give us another contract? And you know what? When the team doesn't perform and they're not in the World Cup, Fox isn't going to give you any more money. NBC isn't going to give you more money. You need to get into those communities where people are trying to fight and call to get out, and you need to find those players. Don't give me one Josie Altidore. Find me 15 of them. Find me 15 kids that
I don't need any more Josies.
Hey, not Josie, but you know, find me 15 people for who they know what they want out. They aren't playing because their mom thought it was safer than football. They're playing because they need money. They need to find a way out. And until they can do that as an entity and make sure that soccer is in every neighborhood, like you need to be driving past every neighborhood, throwing a soccer ball out the window until people figure it out. Like just, oh wait, we're in the south side of Chicago, throw 15 soccer balls and keep driving. You're in the south side of Atlanta, throw them and keep driving. I grew up in East Point, upper middle class family. There was no soccer where I grew up. I didn't see soccer until I was an adult. And it's like,
That's insane.
yeah, it's like there's an entire quadrant of the city where there's no soccer. And people are like, oh, it's everywhere. It's like, no, it's not in East Point, it's not in College Park. We can give you hip hop, we can't give you soccer. And that's the problem, is that people want it to be safe. They don't want their kid to get hurt. They don't want their kid to get beat by somebody from a background that's different from theirs. And that's the problem. Hey, Atlanta, by INS standards, is the southwest border of America. We have more Hispanic people in Atlanta than you can shake a stick at. And you look at these academies, where are they? They're nowhere to be found. But every Sunday you see these pickup games and they will destroy anybody. And that's American soccer's problem. Go get those kids. Make it easy for them. Like, hey, we got this team. Don't worry about the money. We got that covered. Don't sit there and go, oh, well, it's $1,500 to play. Do you want to win or do you want to lose? I want to win. I'm going to find people that can help me win. And that's American soccer's problem, is that we have this idea of what the team should look like, how they should behave, how they should act. And you know what? It's counterproductive. It's just one of those things like, there's a room full of people here that want their team to win, and American soccer's like, well, you'll show up anyway until we don't. And that's what we have to do. We have to not show up. And let them know after tomorrow, if it goes the way that none of us want, if it's somebody just going to toe the company line, let the ratings plummet. Let them go, oh, wait, we can't get money anymore? That's what changes things. Not, I mean, this is we want to think that we can fight for it. Our money speaks better. Our ratings speak better.
And when we're all tuning in for France, we're tuning in for Spain, we're tuning in, well, not Italy this year, but make it hurt for them. And the only place you can hurt them is the wallet.
CK, Jason, got something?
So, and exactly what Curtis just said. And so, a previous company, which I will not name, but there was an analyst, was it 4 or 5 years ago, and actually it was funny. It went around on the Twitter or whatever, and wrote all the reasons why soccer would fail in Atlanta. And I think most of the people out there would understand what I'm talking about.
Fuck you, Bobon!
And there was one of the things that he missed. There was a few points he missed, but it's one of those things where he pointed to all the data points that made sense. And as an analyst, this made sense to me when he went through and he said, this is why it'll fail, the fickle audience, the transient nature of the Atlanta audience. But he missed something really, really big, and it was something that a company I worked for picked up on really fast. And Atlanta has one of the fastest growing Hispanic populations in the country. And without being too controversial, there's two things the Hispanic population did really, really well. So as an analyst, it was my job to point that out. And we went through and we said, they do really, really well at going to Catholic churches, and they really love soccer. Two things. So from a monetary standpoint, you're not interested in the politics of it, right? You're looking at it and saying, okay, what do I care about the demographic that I am pitching, whatever I'm pitching to, and how can I sell them that thing? And he really missed that. When I read his entire report, he missed the entire Hispanic population. He missed it completely. And he missed the fact, the rate of growth. And how the game is really central to the culture. It's central to the culture. Outside of just everybody in Atlanta that cared about the game beyond the Hispanic population, he missed that. And I feel like that's one of those big things that were missed in the audience. And that's something that anybody going forward should pay attention to. I'm not saying it's the only thing you should pay attention to. It should never be the only thing you pay attention to. But when you pay attention to a population, you want to understand what's important to that population. Soccer, above all things that I've ever known it to be, is not a sport. Soccer is a culture. So when you understand culture, then you can sell. And that's America, right? Yeah. What can I sell?
That's the perfect way.
Is that America, right? America is what can I sell? If you want to sell something, you better damn well understand the culture. Because if you miss it, you're missing the point entirely. So that was the only thing I wanted to piggyback on about what Curtis was talking about. You better pay attention to the culture.
So, first off, as American Outlaw, I will not be rooting for anyone else during the World Cup. I single-handedly be waking up early to watch Mexico lose. And that's my job.
Yeah, no, I can respect that.
And the second thing is, as I'm watching the World Cup, I'll be saving my money to go to France to watch a team that's going to win. So, Women's World Cup as well.
So, but the big thing is, like, that was the American Outlaw Atlanta chapter's idea that we talked about was, we don't have a World Cup in the summertime. So 2/3 of what we had planned for 2018 to do, events, fundraisers, all that, was gone. It's the same thing as, like, you know, like it's local businesses, as the TV rights went, everything went out the window when USA did not qualify. And so it came back down to, then how do you make sure this doesn't happen again? That's the biggest thing. Anytime, and whether it be a political group or a sports group or whatever, when you lose, you got to figure out what went wrong and how to do it right the next time. So that's kind of been our deal, and it's, you know, like I said, the youth stuff, getting people involved. People will support the women's team, support the men's team in, you know, the games against Bosnia, where it's, God, it's tough to watch. But we're still going to support the team. You know, it's having that same kind of call to action to make sure that soccer stays relevant in the people's eyes. Because we kind of leaned on the World Cup as a country for soccer for years. Like, you grab so many more people who want to watch whatever they can watch after a World Cup. We're not going to have that this year. So we're going to have to find new ways to get new people involved in a sport that we all love that typically wouldn't do it. And the only way to do that is to find other outlets.
That's one of the things, like here, Jason, you can talk about this, where we have a brand new club here in Nashville, and I feel like a lot of people were kind of banking on the U.S. to play those 3-4 games that they play to garner more attention to the new club here. Do you think that we can still be able to manufacture that kind of interest in the city, or people are still on that kind of high of having an MLS team coming here in potentially 2020 that it won't really matter?
Right. Well, with the World Cup failure, I mean, I do think, you know, it is kind of good that we're kicking off USL this year to sort of build some sort of interest in soccer in the city. And then, like, the MLS announcement back in December, I mean, I noticed on my social media pages everything jumped right after that. And I've been getting people signing up from Huntsville, from Bowling Green, from Cookeville, and
Mississippi.
No, we haven't had anyone sign up for there.
They're about to.
Yet.
Check your phone.
Yeah, we're going to expand. Anyways, like, yeah, it's up to us as a supporters group and other supporters groups that come up in Nashville and the club to sort of keep the momentum going. Like, yeah, we're not in the World Cup this year, but we need to get people involved at the local level. Like, we have this club right here in the city. You don't have to watch it on TV. You could drive wherever you are and then Metro Nashville and see pro soccer and see a team that's going to play in MLS in a few years.
So let's do this, as we've almost gone out. Let's wrap this discussion up with the game tomorrow, because that's why y'all are here. That's why we're here. We've been talking about soccer and the growth here in the South. So what y'all got going on this year at Atlanta United? What y'all got going on?
It's year 2, and the responsible side of me wants to say, you know what, we hope we're 5% better. The irresponsible side of me wants to destroy everybody, everything. I want to embarrass people. I want people to go home to their wives and feel bad that they did not play well in front of Atlanta. I want them to come to our stadium and feel inadequate as owners that they play in tiny Tinker Toy stadiums. But as a responsible person, I'm just hoping for 5% improvement.
Okay. CK, what you guys got going on this year?
Okay, so we want to be gracious to you in the parking lot, but when you get in that stadium, no. Oh, wait, hold on. So we're gracious in the parking lot. When you get in that stadium, it's on. No, there's no mercy rule, and I love the acquisitions that Atlanta United has made.
Yeah, who's this Barco kid?
No, wait, who? We got a boat! We got a fucking boat! United! I'm on a motherfucking boat! Yeah, so we brought a boat to a field. I don't know how that's going to work out. I feel like it's going to work out well.
It's going to work out really well.
It's going to work out well. So we got that, and another guy called Escobar. You're not going to see him
cocaine?
probably, but you're not going to see him this weekend. I still feel like that is what honestly that's what I love about this team. The aggressiveness about the way the team attacks the MLS is one of the reasons I have fell in love with the team. Honestly, I have, because they look at it and say, you know what? We have Almiron, we have Joseph Martinez, we have some really good pieces that are out on that field. Dressel's awesome, Julian is awesome, but we look at that and they say, you know what? We're not going to sit here and we're not going to sit with that. We're going to take that and we're going to add to it. And we're going to go after this guy that is going to bring the largest transfer fee the MLS has ever seen. Right? We're going to go out there and pay $15 million for a child. A 18-year-old. A child, right? We're going to go pay 15.
He still has braces.
Yeah, he really has braces. We're going to pay $15 million. We're probably going to pay off his orthodontics bill. I feel like Darren is probably going to write that check. And I love that they are willing to go out there and do that, because that is what the game needs at this stage. They need it. They need someone that will go out there and even, I can't say it won't work out because it's going to work out. I feel really bad for y'all tomorrow. It's going to work out. Like, I'm pretty sure we could put a goalkeeper and Barco and Almiron out there and it probably won't work out well. But And I feel that's what the rest of the MLS needs. They need a wake-up call. They need somebody that comes in and says, you know what? If you don't spend the money and you don't put the pieces in the right place, you're not going to win this league. And you're not going to get, is it 16 or is it all 17 games nationally broadcast? All 17 games nationally broadcast, right? If you don't put that out there, if you don't put the product on the field, we are not going to advertise. We're not going to put the money where it needs to be to grow the game. And I love that they're willing to throw that on the table. I love it.
You're talking too long, CK!
Aaron should never be on a stage ever. But I will pass the mic.
All right, Craig, wrap us up here.
So I'll give you two things here. First off, last time we played a team that had 11 people that were from minor league. We scored 6 goals in the snow, so we're probably going to kick your ass tomorrow.
And one of them will be out on the pitch tomorrow.
Yeah. So make sure that when you guys promote yourselves up, go find some MLS players, no matter how good or bad they are, because United came back to us with not the same roster, did way better. So, but in regards to Atlanta United, a lot of people are going to talk to you about, are we going to win the cup? Are we going to do this? We're going to do that. The biggest thing the most important thing to me as a soccer fan in the U.S., the FIFA World Cup Championship will be played in the morning. And directly after the FIFA World Cup Championship, Atlanta United will play. And I will tell you right now, it will be the largest crowd ever to watch a soccer game in America. Guaranteed, mic drop, that's it. So when you see that happen, take notes, watch what we do, make sure Nashville's good, because we spent the same shit out of you guys when you guys get up there, so appreciate it.
Pipe bomb!
Bring us home.
Okay, so they're saying like this is the new Cascadia Cup rivalry, like this is the new Seattle-Portland.
You don't gotta wait though. He's like,
yeah.
Hey,
you know what?
You're gonna need least on for when we come up here.
Portland won a championship for Seattle, so it's gonna be the same thing in this situation.
And this thing's getting out of hand. Okay. Hey. Okay, well, hey, guys. No, seriously, welcome to Nashville. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy tomorrow. I don't know when you're leaving. I assume Sunday. It's gonna be, you don't have to leave. You can stay here. Enjoy it. But no, but it's no, it's been a great discussion. Just kind of picking your brains, understanding kind of what the growth of soccer in Atlanta has been like, and then being here and seeing how the grassroots movement here in Nashville. I'm excited for it. Super happy to have you guys here, and so appreciate me joining me.
Hey, thank you.